Good morning, everyone. We are glad to have you today with us on the future of workers management webinar. Today, emerging of coronavirus pandemic lead to curfews and home-based work become the new standard for a large part of employees. Industries that we are previously unable to work for their employees had to adapt to reality. Uncertainly, jobs are said to be 80% of workers in the world affected by the emerging coronavirus crisis. Several governments in Arab countries have invested in the field of innovation and digital transformation, and the United Arab Emirates government are leading the way in this field by building ecosystem equipped with the necessary information and communication technology infrastructure by focusing on digital transformation to support futuristic technological innovation. The UAE have success in applying and adapting technology in work by using remote work, face recognition, AI, and blockchain among the global and the region countries. Due to its prepaid strong infrastructure and its leadership in the stage of digital transformation and progress toward smart city and digital services, we are in Ajman X Center are having an open platform for innovation, research, and development with the aim of achieving the future now. By focusing on the innovation and futuristic technology, which will allow government to create an environment that allows independent workers to grow, provide many jobs opportunities, and encouraging innovation. I hope that this webinar will be a great opportunity to gather the knowledge and from diversity of perspective and see the futuristic technology which we can adapt it in these kind of fields. Thank you for joining us, and hope that we will get a lot of valuable information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Noora. And next, I would like to give a mic to Dr. Mohamed bin Omer, CEO of Planning and Infrastructure Sector.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for this good opportunity to share with you our also experience during Corona status. The future of the workers' management in government will be tend to focus on artificial intelligence, which contribute to the performance of jobs, tasks in different places and times. Some of this approach will apply during the Corona period, such as a visual handover of projects and visual site visit, which does not require the employee to attend the workplace anymore, and all the concerned stakeholders can view and accept and share their remarks. In the near future, the management will be focused on developing employees' technical skills in the technical and administrative field and reduce the paper-based administrative tasks and some technical tasks that will be managed and implemented via artificial intelligence, which will allow the employees to innovate more in the implementation of critical technical tasks and create solutions. Science, they will be detected to the project during the timeline. So I just do a small and quick speech to give more time to see the other presentation. Thank you very much, and hopefully we're gonna have a good result in the end of this day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mohamed. Next speaker is Alexander Belyaev, Technical Director of NNTC and Solution Expert, with his presentation, iFalcon Foreman, Future of Worker Management.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending our webinar. So I will present our approach to worker management and how it can transform in the future with the use of artificial intelligence technologies, and how easier it can actually become. So first of all, a few words about NNTC. Actually, we are a group of companies which works internationally and have offices in several countries such as Russia, Turkey, Bahrain, and here in UAE. In total, group has over 3,000 employees and has experience in almost any kind of IT and like digital transformation technologies. Here in UAE, as an NNTC, we are actually an innovation hub for the group of the companies, and we develop solutions or products which help in digital transformation for our customers, and applying new technologies which appear quite quickly now, I would say. So main areas, main focuses which we have now is, of course, artificial intelligence and different kinds of robotics. We have solutions for video analytics, the face recognition, which we'll talk about now. We have a team of experienced virtual reality developers, which focus on industrial applications of the technology, providing trainings, technical drills, and such things for the like heavy industries mostly. We have a division which works with drones from the software perspective, and several more. So if we're talking about attendance in general, it's been applied, I think, for a long time now. Since appearance of ability to write down some kind of information, we were able to count attendance. But the world now is evolving quickly, and as Sheikh Noora mentioned, now we have coronavirus, which gives us a lot of restrictions and like brings a lot of change to the way we have to deal with like many things. And one of them, of course, is attendance, because some companies which we are talking now was actually lost half of the ability to do that because they were using some kind of technology which requires some kind of interaction. So one of them is actually offices, because many companies used things like cards or face recognition. And cards and fingerprint sensor biometrics, which like in many places are forbidden now. So for companies now, there is no way to count attendance using them. Even like most of the people are still offline, let's say not in the offices, but people are coming back, and there is no way. There is a huge area where like you need to count attendance for field workers. They like it's some kind of remote jobs which people do daily, helping others. And the third one is the construction companies, which I think suffer now quite a lot because they need to have quick measures of counting people, counting people themselves, counting their attendance, with minimizing their interactions, because construction sites cannot stop even during the crisis. There is no way to build a house remotely. So now I would like to start a short poll to understand from which companies you are. It should appear on, first of all, yeah, first of all, how many employees, workers you have? Okay, so I think everyone sees the results, right? most like half of the attendees have less than 100 workers and like 100 employees, and we have over 30%, like over 100. Okay, so now I would like to talk about like in more detail about the problems which companies face now, and maybe like, and after ask you which of them you see is the most like painful for you, let's say. So first of all, the one I mentioned is now for the offices, there is no way to use fingerprint sensors, and many companies now search for alternatives to like for alternatives, contactless alternatives. I think once the people start coming back to the offices, there is trouble with queuing of people. For the offline, for the people which work at home, let's say, there is no ability to actually check in at work, right? So they need some kind of tool using which they have the ability to signal that they started working. So it brings without a tool, it brings mistakes to the actual attendance counting. And for the field workers, there is as far as our customers tell us, there is no tool to record the field worker attendance apart from like some kind of manual mechanisms. Like it can be messaging, it can be emailing, it can be some kind of mobile application which you can use basically anywhere. And it again, it just brings mistakes in the process. For the construction sites, it's even like the problem itself is even bigger because of the numbers of workers on sites. If you imagine like average construction site in UAE and in the Gulf is around 1,000 people. So like let's say hours spent just to enter the sites. Like on average, half an hour might be spent by worker just to enter it. We know cases then like subcontractors using this as the advantage, and they try to understaff the general contractors because there is no way to count such amounts of people. And we know a lot of companies still use paper records, which by themselves is a source of mistakes and conflicts, which bring money losses due to this. Here, I would like to ask you again about which of the problems are more, as I mentioned, more painful for you. So first of all, in which organization you're working, and the problems. They should appear now on the screen. Let's see if we have any results already. So two major problems is the fingerprint and the paper and manual work with reporting. Very interesting that someone mentioned unauthorized access. And if you can write about what other problems you're facing in the chat, so I think would be also interesting to everyone. And let's move forward. So basically, we're speaking with a lot of companies all the time, and we started discussing how we can solve those attendance problems with innovative technologies. And we came up with the solution based on the mobile application, which uses face recognition and allows to optimize the team costs, which are connected with timekeeping and all this reporting workload which HR has on them later on to calculate the numbers. Application itself allows to digitalize the process completely, so you can remove the paper. Like since it's mobile application, you can guess that it allows you to check in anywhere. You can check in the field. If you're a field worker, you can check in at home if you're working from home. And for HR and timekeeping people, it gives online access to this data at the moment the, let's say, check-in or check-out was done, which actually brings those savings in time. So like you can remove queues just because the process takes less time. And you can do it, let's say, not in one place. You can do it in many places, which makes it like quicker as well. There is like several more benefits, which is like accurate attendance. Since we remove paper records, everything is digital, and the possibility of mistakes is much less. Savings in time by our calculations can be up to 90% from the, let's say, if we go from the paper process to this one, and it will be in the middle if you already have some kind of like attendance system in place. Since it's a mobile application, it uses only 4G network and again requires very little infrastructure to be rolled out. So the only thing you need is the phone and the SIM card. Like unlike the same, like let's say fingerprint technologies, which in which you have to put the sensor somewhere, maybe several of them, and they're attached to the place where you need to support them, update them, and like basically manage them. And the system allows to customize those reports by the requirements of HR teams, which helps again to speed up the process. So how it works? In case of remote employees and the office scenario, there is two main components. So for all the employees, we can give this mobile application and they will use it to make selfies in the place they actually work. So the system will save their picture, will save the time when they did a selfie and their GPS coordinates. Those will be transferred and saved on the server. If they come to the office, there is a way to equip the office with cameras, which will use face recognition again, just to identify them on the entrances and in the same way record their attendance. For a construction site, we give the mobile application to a timekeeper or a foreman, which start picturing their workers. They can do it like one by one again, or they can just point it to the groups of people and their attendance will be recorded. We give it to timekeeper or foreman because most of the time they are actually responsible for the process and not the workers themselves. And in the same manner, we can equip, if it's a stationary, like long-term site, let's say, which will be there for several years, we can equip it with the cameras as well on the gates, on the entrances to count the attendance by the cameras. So once that's done, system starts capturing the data and sending it to the server. As I mentioned, we save picture, time, and GPS coordinates, and later present them online in the online on the website with the corresponding reports. So the only thing now HR person has to do is basically open it and download this report, or we can integrate with some system which is already in place to provide this data there, and the same process of calculations for a payroll, for example, will happen there. Now I would like to switch to a demo, just to show you how the system looks like. Just give me a second. I will share my other screen. So I would like to start with the mobile application. This is, I think you can see my screen now, right? This is the implementation of the mobile application for a construction foreman. And it actually looks very simple. This is done exactly for the purpose that the person doing the process have the ability to do it in the quickest way. So because of this, he has only 3 buttons. So the button to check in, the button to check out, and to check the list of his workers. For the office employee, basically it will look in a similar way, but without a list of workers, because there isn't any. So if I click on the check-in button, either camera opens, or I can switch to the frontal camera to make a selfie. System makes my picture, sends it to the server, and recognizes me. So once this is done, I can check the list. The list will show how many workers is in my team and checked in. It shows the coordinates, and it shows the time of check-in. So at the end, I do the similar process to check out. And now you can see the number is less, and I've been checked out from the system. So once this process is done, I will open the web interface of the system. So once this process is done, my attendance is recorded on the server, and it's ready to be checked by anyone, for example, HR person or a timekeeper. So here, you can see the main screen of the system. The screen itself, this is the main screen, which is done for informative purposes to check that the pictures are getting into the system and is recorded correctly. You can see here several groups of people which system has inside NNTC, workers, and worker demo. This is a demo server, so you can see here the database of people. So the main thing which system requires is the picture, and it requires only one picture to work. It requires name, and it requires to choose the category, to create the categories of people. Usually categories are used for sorry, I just checked the chat. There's some questions. I will answer the questions after the demo. So the categories can be customized. It's completely custom fields. They can be let's say by company. It can be staff designation. It can be department. It can be anything, because it's basically a text field for which you define the name as you want. And additionally, you can define the working hours, which will be used if overtime calculation is required. And other thing which system requires is to have locations. inside, like entered into the system, so it can recognize the points where you check in. So you can, again, this is just a text field with the GPS coordinates and the radius for this location. So now I define two, Abu Dhabi and Dubai offices of NNTC. Once like everything is in place, the system generates a standard work time report, which holds the information about all the events. It holds the names of the checked-in employees, their category. In case it's a construction site scenario, name of the foreman, which signed in this person, because each of them, in this case, have their own login and password. It saves the date and the location. So, and they can be different, by the way. You can check in, of course, at one office, you can check out at some other if you're, again, like, for example, a field worker. And the system record this. If you click on the coordinates, here, the system will open Google Maps showing the location. If there is no location entered, the system will save the plain raw GPS coordinates of the event, so you can review it later, and maybe later enter this location into the system if it is required. And then it saves the photos. It saves the start and end time of work, and if there is a overtime, it saves, it calculates overtime automatically. So once this is done, this report can be reviewed by HR person, and it can be downloaded to Excel sheet, for example, to make some additional calculations if they're required, or to integrate with something else, so with some other system. This report can be customized by a particular case. So for example, if you need to calculate payroll based on some kind of parameters right here, these columns can be added quite easily. Or like anything else, basically, like shift duration, start, just total working time, and things like this, they can be here. Also, if you notice, the system, even if you didn't do the checkout, system will show you that you're registered and you're now on site. So by this, you can also track who wasn't checked out from the system, for example, or like, let's say, stayed on the site for longer than he should have been. Of course, you can select different periods of time, like a week, day. You can select and generate a report for the whole time, or any customized period you want. So let me check what was the questions. So there is a question about can the system be deployed in the cloud? The answer is yes. The system can be, actually, it can be deployed anywhere. It can be a cloud installation. It can be like on-premise installation on your server. It works in the same way. About the database, there is only the technical limit, which I mean technical from the hardware performance limit. So, and there is no software limit for the database. It can be like, let's say, 1 million pictures. Okay, next question. Where are the facial data stored? The facial data stored on the server itself. We don't store the facial data on the edge devices for the security reasons. There is a mode of the application which allows it to work offline. So if there is no connection, system will, in this case, system will save the pictures which is done by the application. Again, the time of the picture and the GPS coordinates, and will send them to the server once the network is restored. So yeah, about customized report, I already answered. So let me go back to the presentation back. Can we use this application as a self-attendance tool? Yes. As I mentioned, yes, you can use it as a self-attendance application, such self-attendance tool, just by making selfies. Just by using the selfie camera to register your attendance anywhere. I mentioned it in this case, if you remember. So the last thing I wanted to mention is the licensing policy, which is quite simple. So the only thing the system requires is the number of systems and the cameras we install to calculate either perpetual license or a subscription-based license, like a monthly license, which gives again the flexibility of using the system on a monthly basis or just as a one-time payment. Thank you. If you have any other additional questions, please write them in the chat.
Thank you, Alex. I think you all answer all the questions that we had in the chat. I would like to give a mic to Sheikha Noora. She would like to say a couple of words to conclude today's webinar.
First of all, I would like to thanks Dr. Mohamed bin Omer for his speech, and Alexander for your valuable information and knowledgeable technology solutions that we can apply it and worker management, so we can measure the productivity of the workers and employees. Thank you all for the participants, and I hope that you have an answer about your questions and future of workers management topics. Thank you all.
Thank you very much to everyone. And to finish our presentation, we would like to pop up the last question to our today's participants. Would you like us to contact you for more information? Please answer yes if you would love to know more, or no in case if it's not maybe applicable for your organization. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and within next days you will receive the recording of this webinar and slides for the presentation. Have a nice day to all.